There is a version of you that wants to be seen. There's a version in all of us that needs to be seen. I'm just gonna ramble on about my experience of discovering myself and being a seeker of truth, of my own personal truth. And it all comes down to this ability to be curious. Without curiosity, it's really difficult to heal, to understand ourselves on a deeper level than just intellectual. It's been super transformative for me to get sober. And when I finally got sober, I finally saw my value. And when I saw my value, I started to finally see myself for who I truly am, for who and what I deserve in this life. And that's the truth. You finally get to see your truth. Putting these videos out is a way for me to connect with that truth even further. So you might be wondering, well, how do I learn to see myself? And we see ourselves first by learning to listen. And sometimes listening is really uncomfortable. It's not always rainbows and butterflies and sunshine. Sometimes it's darkness, and sometimes it's fear, and sometimes it's facing some form of terror. Being able to see yourself is learning how to be comfortable with having parts of yourself die over and over and over again. Now, I know that might sound really woo-woo, but I genuinely believe that in my heart. But what I'm saying is the parts of you that are dying are actually the parts of you that are incredibly limiting. These limiting beliefs, so to speak, the ways that you've been programmed, right? And so being able to see yourself is really this remembering of who you were before all of that happened, took place, before you somehow got inherited all of it. So it's really an undoing, an unfolding, and that's how you learn how to see yourself, right? And then we start attracting certain people in our lives that are also seeing themselves, and then we see that mirror reflected back within us. A lot of us are really comfortable living in the mental body, anxiety and stress and chaos and thinking ahead and worrying and doubting yourselves and all of these things, right? The list goes on and on and on. And we're so comfortable with that, right? And then we have another part. We have the emotional body, right? Where it's the ability to truly feel into those sensations. Not just happiness, right? Sometimes it's grief, it's loss. Being able to feel into it so that we can finally connect with our body, right? Sometimes we need this coherence with the mind and the body to be connected so that we truly understand, we truly learn our lesson, we truly see ourselves. Because I would argue that even we have these limiting beliefs, it's almost like our body is like having a hard time accepting that. That's why it's uncomfortable. It's like, I'm telling myself I'm not worthy and my body is depressed. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Going back to my journey with sobriety and finally seeing my value in this world, my life started to change and shift very, very slowly. I'd say it took me a couple of years to just get regulated. Now, I thought I was fine. as the months and the days go on, I'm reaching a new level of seeing myself. It's this experience, like even the way that I talk is more grounding and calmer and steadier. That makes me feel like I see myself. That makes me feel like I'm welcoming myself. We all probably want a life of ease, but we don't choose a life of ease. And I've been thinking about ease a lot and what it would be like to welcome ease in, honor the ease, let it be easy, follow it, follow the ease, do what your heart wants, not what the limiting belief says. It's not easy to be a seeker of truth, of your own truth. That level of consciousness is an arrival to home. It's a remembering. All it takes is curiosity. That's how you see yourself. When it gets hard, when it gets challenging, be curious about that. Be so curious, but compassionate, right? Compassion is number one, and kindness. You know, sometimes I think there's a lot of comfort in being blind. We think that is somehow, there's a part of our brain that is able to be like, I'm not gonna go there because there's some kind of shame or there's some sort of guilt in even opening yourself to explore that pathway. And sometimes it's, you know, for example, sobriety. For many years, I wasn't curious about it. I said, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that at all. And now, looking back, all it took was, well, how good could my life be? Versus how terrible could my life be if I chose sobriety? Comfort does not equal growth sometimes. I feel so good when I'm growing because I know that I'm learning, and it makes me realize that more and more is possible, and that I'm allowing for better to come into my life, right? When things are so hard, that means I'm allowing for better. Now that can be uncomfortable to call in better because we don't really believe it yet. Once we start to truly lean into that, it gets easier. Who is the you that wants to be seen? Ask yourself that question and see what comes up for you. This is just all my experience and what's helped me grow my own deeper connection with myself and trust. Thanks for being here and listening and watching this video. And follow for more if you're interested in my journey of self-love and growth and transformation and spirituality.